Hello everybody, welcome in. Thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it. The water's fine. Today I get to talk about a book from one of my, if not the, one of my very favorite tippity top, absolute, most beloved authors out there, the name of F. Paul Wilson. And this book, I believe is what I'm getting here, is called Double Threat. Here's the trade edition hardcover. I was able to get this signed copy from BJ Books. I think that's what I got. Yep. Signed in person by F. Paul Wilson. F. Paul Wilson is the author of whom I have the most books. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shelves of just F. Paul Wilson stuff. Pretty much everything I've been able to get this within reason. Anyway, I'm a big fan. And this book, Double Threat, I think came out 2021. Sorry. 2021 or 2022, I think 2021. It was published in trade hardcover like I showed you. And I read this book and I absolutely loved it. Now here's one thing I want to talk about just briefly before I unbox what I got in the box from Borderlands Press. This book I read and I loved it. I mean, excellent book. Phenomenal. But before I actually got to this, I was talking to somebody about authors, and I said I'm a big fan of F. Paul Wilson. That person said, I also love F. Paul Wilson, but his new book is bad. And I said, wow, how's that possible? He just said, oh, it's awful. Well, when I read the book, I said, what in the heck was that guy thinking? This stuff is great, phenomenal. And then it occurred to me, when I looked on the cover, I searched and searched everywhere. I could find nothing that told me here that this was the first book in a two-part series. So essentially you have one story cut in half, and this is the first half. Now if I read this book thinking this was the beginning, middle, and end of the story, yes, it's disappointing because the end leaves you. You've got a bunch of problems, including a very large overarching problem for our main character, Dahl. And this book solves a problem and then leaves you with all this other stuff to be settled in part 2. So this being first part of 2, it's very important to know that before you read this book. And I think our publisher here, Tor Forge, says Forge, did readers and maybe our author a great disservice by not making it absolutely clear that this is part 1 of a 2-part book set story. And it literally is cut in half. So anyway, I can see how that person might have had that negative taste left in their mouth, not knowing that there is a second book coming in that set called Double Dose, by the way. Double Threat, Double Dose. And this story takes one of F. Paul Wilson's very first books called The Healer and modernizes it and changes some stuff in it. I loved Healer. I loved Healer a lot, and I loved Pard, the short story it was based on. Look them up. Read them. I strongly recommend them. But this book takes it, modernizes it, makes the main character a young lady named Dahl, who comes from a long line of family of con artists. And she, as a young girl, got out, went and lived with another relative. But the family keeps trying to suck her back in. And being a con is part of her, it's in her blood, it's in her genes. And so she finds herself going out doing confidence schemes, scamming and things like that. And she runs into our story at that point. And I won't go any farther. You can read the synopsis, whatever, all about it. But it's a little bit of Healer. But I like this better. I love this story. I love the way it goes. Here we go. I want to take a look at the signed limited edition of it. This came in the mail today, unannounced, no notice. I was actually waiting for another one. I was actually waiting for another book from them, Blake Crouch, Wayward. And I guess that one's coming also. I don't know. But I thought this might be that. And then might be in trouble here. I might have talked about a book that I don't even have. But let's take it open and see. There we go. All right. Yes, indeed. F. Paul Wilson is in the house. Borderlands Press shipped this book. You can see here, it's a thin box. Barely covers the book as far as thickness goes. They got paper wrapped around it to stop it from shuffling. It's got bubble wrap around it, which is all good. I do worry when I get these thin boxes. It doesn't take much damage for that to be transferred to the book. And I hate messed up books, especially when I buy them brand new from the publisher. But I hope my book is in good shape. The box wasn't abused in the mail like they can get pretty easily. But let's get into it. I love this book. I haven't read Double Dose yet. It's not out yet in trade or limited edition. Gauntlet has that one, and I think I've already ordered it. Yeah, I've already ordered Double Dose. And maybe the Gauntlet limited edition will be the first release of that book. I don't know. There's some chicanery going on with publishing right now, so we'll see. But anyway, this was shipped from Borderlands Press, and you can see it's a joint production, Gauntlet, BP. These are two separate publishers, Gauntlet Press, Borderlands Press, but they work together a lot to release books. I don't know anything about the inner workings of the business. I just know that a lot of the books I buy from Gauntlet end up being shipped from Borderlands Press and have both logos on the spine. Typically, those come in a taller trim size. This is more like what you would get from a Gauntlet book, the height. This is more like you would get, this is Pines, by the way, what you would get from a Borderlands Press book. And so I don't know how it works. I would look at this and say, oh, Gauntlet, but it says both on the spine, and it was shipped by Borderlands Press. So let's get it out and take a look at what I got. Double threat. I'll show you the artwork, cover artwork. This cover looks really good. Gauntlet Press, if you're an F. Paul Wilson book collector, you probably have a lot of books from Gauntlet Press. He's been working with them for a long time, over 20 years. I don't know exactly, I can't think off the top of my head, but I think 2001, maybe, somewhere around there, I've got a Gauntlet Press F. Paul Wilson limited edition book. So, a long time they've been working together. And here's our cover dust jacket artwork, and it does help to tell some of the story. Maybe I'll do a review on this. It's been a while since I read it, so some of the details are a little bit foggy, but I did love this story. And anyway, the dust jacket artwork looks good. The spine, big, bold, double threat. I like it. Looks good. It's gonna look good on my shelf. Glad to have it. And let's take off this dust jacket, stretch it out a little bit, and then I'll show you the book too. So there's our dust jacket artwork, and there's F.E., the man, FPW himself right there. I've met F. Paul Wilson a handful of times. He happened to be in Orlando a few times, and I live north and west of Orlando. So when I've been able to, I've gotten over there, signed books. A nice fellow. Been very good conversation, all that kind of stuff. Which really helps when you meet somebody that you're a big fan of their work, and they're also cool people. That really helps. Anyway, here's the book itself. I would say leather-ish. I'm not going to say leather, but it kind of feels like leather and looks kind of like leather. But I'm assuming it is something else, maybe a synthetic type. And then there is that gold foil spine. Looks nice, looks good. One of the things, both Gauntlet and Borderlands Press, it's hard to see in the picture, what they've gone to is glued bindings, very much like trade hardcover books. So the older days, not even that long ago, 10 years ago or so, the books I have from these publishers have sewn bindings. Now they've gone to glued bindings, like a trade publication would. And you're talking about maybe $60 around there, I think, for these books. So you're getting very close to trade edition books with signed limited edition tipped in pages. And here's our signature page Again, nice artwork. The artwork matches the dust jacket cover. Mine is number 58, Derek Thomas, out of 500 copies. And typically, no interior illustrations. Here is what the page looks like. So we actually have good sized typeface on here. The paper is not a stark white. It's a little bit creamier color, so it's going to make good reading. If this is a copy that you're going to read, I'd already read the trade hardcover edition. So this is a book for my collection, a prized book in my collection, because I love the story, I love the man, and glad to be able to get signed and limited edition books. At the price point, there are other publishers out there who are giving you more for the same price. SST, I can get books delivered to me from the United Kingdom with quality Smithsonian bindings, 6 or more interior illustrations, you know, some good stuff. Cloth bound instead of this, but Gauntlet and Borderlands Press are publishing some of my very favorite authors, and they're giving me signed limited editions from those authors, and the price is still in that economy price range. So even though it sounds like I might be complaining, I am not. I am satisfied. I could be more satisfied, but I am satisfied. I'm not complaining, and I don't want to come off as such. I'm buying them. I think I bought 4 or 5 books from Gauntlet/BP this year, and there's at least 2 or 3 coming out next year that's been announced already in January. I'm going to buy them. As soon as they're available, I'm buying them. So satisfied enough to buy for sure. And with that, I can think of no more lies to tell. Double Dose should be out soon. This one just came out. I'm excited to get Double Dose. I'm excited to read that, to finish this story. An excellent story. I really like it. When I finish that one, I'll probably do a review of the 2 combined, because I think that's the way it should be read, honestly. And I think that's the way it should be reviewed as well. So check it out. Even if you're going to wait a little while till you can get both books in hand, check out Double Threat. F. Paul Wilson is a phenomenal writer. If you've never read F. Paul Wilson, you're in for a treat, because the reading of that writing is so easy. It flows so well. Such an efficient writer. Not a lot of wasted words, like me, wasting words. Not a lot of wasted words. Not a lot of over descriptions, over detailized. It just flows. A very efficient writer. One of my very favorites, wrote some of my very favorite books. Anyway, that's enough babbling. Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. I can think of no more lies to tell at the moment. So c'est la vie, baby. Doo-doo.